Okay, so now we finished continuity. We finished a lot of these reversal setups for the higher time frame that we're actually reversing on. That we're the higher time frame reversal that we're configuring. So we're going to move down to the trail stops, and how we're actually protecting the downside and making sure that we're keeping as much profit as possible. So we're going to go through. Quite a bit on this go around. So we're going to go through all this stuff. So we're going to talk about stops, and then we're also going to talk about other filters or configurations that we can set. So trail stops. This was also something that there was a few requests on as far as other alternatives to the one that I had built originally, which the original Simple Strat had just an ATR filter, ATR trail. So what I've done here is pretty much what you see. ATR is still there. I've added a PSAR. I've added the high-low of the 1 bar ago. So the higher-low 1 bar ago is taking place on the entry time frame. So again, if we're trading a 60-minute reversal, but we're entering on the 15, your stop is going to be placed on the 15. So it's going to trail the 15 1 bar ago. Or the ATR is going to be based on the 15-minute time frame. Or the PSAR will be based on the 15-minute PSAR. You have the ability to make changes to the ATR and PSAR. And I'm going to come back to this TTO in a second here. But you can adjust the period and the multiplier for the ATR. Right here. This is a lot of people have said that this is a little bit too wide. So you can do like a 10 and 2, and if you select ATR, it'll change the trail to reflect as such. I have added in here some hard-coded protection when we first enter the trade to pick the initial stop, which is typically the one bar ago, the low or the high of 1 bar ago, and we stick to that stop. So we have less of a chance of losing more than what we had planned. Seeing that our original stop and the shares purchased was based off of the low of 1 bar ago, or if we're entering a 3. On a 3 bar, it's going to be 1 cent below the 3 bar. So, but again, you have the ability to make changes to the ATR period, the multiplier, PSAR stop. You can make changes to the PSAR configurations. That's no problem. Last TTO. So there's a lot of stratters, long-time stratters that talk about placing your stop at the previous TTO. If we're going long, we find the last TTO, and we continue to move our stops up based off of the last TTO. Let me see if I could find one here for an example. We need a long run here. So this ran, and you'll see right here, this bar is lower than this one, and this bar is higher. So very tiny bit of profit. So it took, actually this went 3. So what happened was it snapped up the trail stop to the low of the last TTO. Triangle layout, if you are new to the strat. And if you don't know what triangle layout is, it's basically profit taking. But definitely go watch Rob and Sarah and Jermaine, and those are quintessential learning lessons that everybody should know when you're first learning the strat. So this is the TTO, but yeah, it'll continue to pull itself up on the prior TTO, and so that's how it would trail. Usually we have some nice long runners here, but unfortunately I don't see any, but you get the point. So that's how the TTO works. That's the one I personally use. because for me, it helps me because it also it pulls up the stop quicker. So in the initial entry of the trade, if there's a little bit of secret sauce in the initial entry configuration, and the way that it pulls up the first few bars of the trade, which is related to the TTO, but it's also related to prior lows in that initial entry. And I realized that was confusing. So, but yeah, don't sweat it. So let's see here. So we talked about all of the stops. Yes, I can definitely make more, by the way. I just need to know, if there's a consensus out there of what kind of stops you prefer. It shouldn't be too hard for me to add them in. So feel free to send me a DM or an email. No problem there. One thing that I personally like to use is, it drives me absolutely nuts when I don't have, that I see profit, a substantial amount of profit, and then it just reverses so quickly, and then all of that profit is gone. I needed a way, and prior versions of Simple Strat had something called step stops. Well, this is a very simplified, boiled down version of a step stop, which is basically a way for me to, it's a secondary, like I say right here, extra layer of profit protection. So what it's doing is, if, let's say my risk to reward, or the risk that I'm willing to take on any deal, on any trade is 1% of a $10,000 account, so it's $100. Let's say for every $100 increment that I'm in profit, I'm pulling up my protection to offset that $100. So what do I mean by that? So I start off and I'm already $100 in the hole. Not literally, but I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, the most I'm going to risk is 100. When the trade reaches $200 in profit, so it goes from 0 and I'm all the way up to $200 in profit, what it immediately does is it pulls my stop up to break even. Okay? Then when I'm at $300, it pulls me up to $100 profit, and so on and so forth. So it's allowing me to make sure that if something goes south real quick, I'm not walking away with nothing. Or even worse, at the least, I'm going to break even, right? So that's what ratchet profits are. Sometimes they're good in settings, sometimes they're not. So I'm going to check. So right now it's turned on, and I don't know. I have here you go, a little yellow sticker here that shows me when I get stopped out. Okay, so this one reversed pretty quick, and it preserved $100 worth of profit in this. Had it not, I would have actually gotten stopped out. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't have. Or is this maybe I wouldn't have. Maybe I would have still got right around $100. But you get the point. So if you want it, you want to use it, great. If you don't want to use it, that's no problem whatsoever. Let's see, where are we here? I'm going to turn it off. Let's see what happens over here. Okay, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So we're at 51 and 2.6. 52 and 2.8. So having it off yields a higher win rate and risk to reward, and a higher profit too. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So it's up to you. One of the other things that I had previously hard-coded in an earlier release of Simple Strat is I required trades, in order for a trade to get triggered in if you're going long, price had to be above the ATR that you had configured. Regardless of whether or not you were using the ATR as a stop, I was using ATR as a measure to understand whether or not that trend on a lower time frame is going in the direction that I'm expecting it to. So I want price, if in this example, if I'm going long, I want price to at least be over the the ATR that I had configured. So you can see the gray line over here, very faint gray line, is what the actual ATR is. So I had some people say that was something that they wanted to be able to turn on or turn off. So I gave you the ability to put that in place if you want to make sure, if you want to put a trade on only when price is above the ATR, the trailing ATR, then you can do that. Or if you want to turn it off, you can uncheck the box. So I'm going to check the box. I'm going to turn it on. Let's watch the results over here. Whoop, 54 and 3.1. So by turning it on, it gave us higher results. I'm going to turn it off, so just keep an eye on down there. So it's 54 and 3.1 as far as the percent and risk reward. And it was, with it turned off, 52 and 2.8. Okay, so, and you can have both these on. You can have one on, one off. Doesn't matter. Both of them on 54% and 2.9. So there you have it. So I just checked this box. So you saw you can show the ATR line, which was right here, the gray line. If you're using a white background chart, just make sure things like the shares or anything that would be coming through that would otherwise be hidden because it might be not seen on a white background. Just be cognizant of that and make changes accordingly. You can make changes under the Style tab over here. Okay. So nearing the end over here, so we've got this section over here, well, pretty much all of this section right here. Filters. These are just additional filters. These are additional settings that you can further, turn the knob and tweak things and really drill things down and see how some of these things may affect your backtest results. And whether or not it's something you want to keep in for your future alerts or auto trades. So, you can say, I want to require the SPY continuity on the day and the hour to be the same as whatever I'm selecting in this trade. So I'm going long, so I want the SPY continuity day and hour to also be green. So I can check that and look backwards to see, well, how did that change things? How did it affect things? 47 and 22, 2.2. That's if the continuity was set to be the same. Require the SPY to not be an inside day. This is a must for me. This is, especially over the last couple of days. Again, it's May 17th. This entire week, except for today. Today, finally, oh, no, it's still inside. No, it actually went outside today. So for the last 2 weeks, it's been trading inside. It's just been inside day after inside day after inside day. So I hadn't taken hardly any trades until today. Today, things finally broke out to the upside. But I had this selected because I don't want to trade on inside days because it just I personally get chopped up. So I will, if I uncheck this, watch down here like normal and the profits. I'm going to uncheck that. So 52 and 2.8 and 51 and 2.5. Not a huge deal. Not a huge difference. 106 trades was what it would have done with it off. And if it was on, it would have done 97 trades. So nine additional trades. But yeah, again, a lot of these things are they're small incremental, tweaks. And these are, when I first started out saying, there's some things that you can use. You don't have to use any of these things if you don't want to, but they're there if you do. And personally, I like to tweak things and really kind of see what things make big differences. These settings right here have to do with when I'm going to allow trades to occur, entries. So exits can occur whenever. But entries can only occur, or I want to ignore, what I wrote here was ignore trades during this time. So time session filter 1. I don't want to place any new trades between 9:30 and 9:45 for the equities markets until after 9:45 Eastern time. Rock and roll. I can start placing trades. I don't want to place any new trades the last hour of the market. All right, from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock Eastern. Or, I could change this and say, I don't want to place any new trades during lunch hours. So whatever you want. So if these are checked, that is going to ignore trades happening during this time. So let me uncheck 9:30 to 9:45. Let's see what the results are. 52, 2.7. Yeah, minor differences. But again, some of these minor differences add up, and they start to make major differences when you mix and match these different settings. And then finally, this is something I showed, I think, on an earlier video. Maybe it was this video. I can't remember. No, it was an earlier video for sure. You can specify how far back you want to see trades. So this example right here, the start date filter for back testing, I'm only going back 1 year, literally to the day, May 2022. So I'm seeing 12 months worth of trades, and that's consistent so that I can see the same time frame on the 15-minute chart, which is what I'm on right now. But if I go to the the 1 hour chart, it's going to show me 1 hour entries and exits, but it's still going to be limited to this date range. Same if I get onto the 5-minute, and then the end date filter, it's way far out in the future because I don't want to not look at new trades for whatever reason. So by default, it's all the way out in the future. I can't think of a reason why I would want to use this. Maybe if I just want to ring fence certain dates in history, like between this date and this date, that's the only way that I would personally use it. But it's there if you want. And the last is just cosmetic stuff. Where do you want the table? You can put this table wherever you want. You want to show the bubbles, these profit bubbles, or are they annoying? They get in your way. You can turn them off. Target lines are, the targets that we had over here, T1, T2, whatever, all this stuff. So you can either show them or not show them, whatever you want. So by default, I leave everything on. And that is that. The last thing I'm going to show you in the next video is going to be trade settings and alerts and how to manage it. So stay tuned.